Hello everyone, it's Angel from Gem TCG here, and today's video I'm going to be talking about the fragility of a lot of TCG sellers. And I don't know if it's more of a fragile type of mindset or just being impatient or whatever, but it is something that holds back a lot of sellers. And I think once you can get past this level of thinking, you will reach newer highs and become a lot better of a seller. And it's kind of related to dealing with negative outcomes and being scammed or losing out on a deal or selling something for a loss, any bad thing that could happen, because you cannot control everything. And obviously, the longer you're in this, the higher your chances are of something bad or something wrong happening. But the only thing you can control is just how you deal with it and how you react to it. And there are two specific examples that I learned or that I heard from this week and then a few weeks ago that I want to talk about, which actually made me want to make this video. I'm not going to share any specific details because I don't know enough about their actual stories. I don't want to call them out as a bad seller because that's probably not even true, and they're probably really good sellers, but they just had a bad situation happen to them and they took the wrong point of action. And one of them, they're a little bit different. So one of them was someone got scammed and how they reacted to it. The second one is being impatient, which is what I mentioned a little bit earlier. So the first one is, I saw a post on Instagram and it was from someone that looked like a decent sized seller. They didn't look like they just joined the hobby or they're doing it part-time or something like that. But they made a post saying they got scammed on TCG Player and that their next action in reacting to that is to stop selling on TCG Player altogether. And I usually I don't do this, but I commented on their post and I'm like, I understand TCG Player might not be the best, but changing your entire business model over one order and one scenario is very extreme and very exaggerated. And I think this is a much more common thing than even the people that just post about it. And a lot of people give up or make changes way too early, and they make very exaggerated actions and decisions based on very small and one-off things. Obviously, you can get scammed anywhere. I've been scammed on Facebook, rarely on eBay, and a bunch of times on TCG Player because people saying the item never got received, even though at one point earlier this year, I think seemed like every day someone was saying they didn't receive their package, which is statistically does not make sense to not receive a package that often. If I'm shipping 50 packages and 10 people say they didn't receive it, that does not make sense. So clearly there was some scamming going on there, but I just can't prove it because there's no tracking. And scamming is going to happen anywhere. Whichever platform you sell on or buy on, there's going to be a time where someone just takes advantage and tries to scam you. But when you let that impact you to such a level that you're not going to sell on it ever again is very extreme. And I think it's a bad thing to do. I don't understand why someone would do it. I know if I just had to put myself in their shoes and maybe a beginner seller and I've sold 10 things, but I got scammed on one order. That's a big percentage. But if you're a medium-sized seller or a larger seller and you get scammed once, and let's just say it's $100 scam, that definitely sucks. But think about the bigger picture. You have probably sold thousands of items, dealt with thousands of different customers, and the fact that you only got scammed one time is very small. And I think people, again, it's just like a common thing that a lot of people do. And not just in the card industry or whatever, but people fixate on the negative side of things way too much and they ignore all the good stuff. You could do 100 or 90 things, 99 things good and do one thing wrong, and the only thing people will pay attention to is that one wrong thing. And I think it's a very bad mindset to have, and it'll only do you bad. It'll only hold you back because you can't do everything perfect. You can't make every sale be perfectly done, the seller's happy, the buyer's happy, no one's trying to scam. That's obviously not always possible. And you will run into bad people, deal with bad situations where maybe a package gets lost or gets damaged. The other day, someone sent me a message and their package arrived and it looked like it was completely black from dirt or some debris, and the package was opened and the card was gone, and they still delivered it to them, which is very weird. But I talked it out with the buyer, refunded him, and that's it. It was like a $40 order, but what are you going to do? It's not like I'm going to go, oh, I lost $40 on this card, I'm going to go stop selling on eBay. It's a very exaggerated action. And what I hope that you all can learn from this part is just don't let one bad situation prevent you from making 100 good situations happen. If you're selling on a platform, eBay or TCG Player, and you get scammed, sure, you could be upset that you got scammed or something bad happened, but look at all of these sales you've done that were good and arrived to the buyer. They left a good feedback. They came back and bought more cards from you. There's so many good things that happen. So don't focus on just that one-off bad situation and think it's going to constantly happen and whatever, because it's not realistic, and it's just, I don't even know what to call it, but it's very short-term thinking, I guess, is what I should call it. And the next situation I want to talk about is sellers being impatient. Whether that's being impatient to see big results, not willing to put in the time and effort to get to the level like someone like me or TCG Ball Kings or Card Throne or RNG Games. There's a bunch of people, and you see them and you're like, wow, they're at this level. I want to be at this level. But what they don't realize is just you're not going to get there overnight. It takes a lot of time to get to that level. And the one example, it's a little bit different than what I just talked about, is being impatient with new experiments and new ways of doing things. The example that I was talking about is this person, there was a conversation going on in the TCG Automate Discord, and they were talking about, is top rated seller plus worth it? Are the reduced fees good enough to do one-day shipping and 30 or 60-day returns? There was just a conversation going on about it. And one of the people ended up switching to top rated seller plus, and they send a message a day or two after, and they go, top rated seller plus ruined my sales, and my sales tanked 70% after I switched to top rated seller plus. And they didn't say it exactly like that, but just like verbatim or whatever, that's how they said it. And then I responded to him and I go, how long have you been a top rated seller plus for? And then he goes, I switched yesterday. And I'm like, first of all, that is crazy that you even came to this conclusion after one day of switching when you've only been selling for however long, and you make this huge claim and try to steer away a lot of sellers from becoming a top rated seller plus because you had one day where your sales weren't what you normally experience. And I don't know if I responded back after he said that because I was so blown away by that whole situation. But it's like, what do you expect to happen when you make a change? You can't expect that as soon as you try something new, it's just going to instantly work. And you have to let things take time. You need to have volume, and you need to keep trying new things. But expecting results within a day and expecting especially significant results is very extreme, and it's going to hold you back again if you think that way. And honestly, I think this deserves a full video of the concept of being patient and not being so short-term thinking. But those two stories are definitely something that happens a lot with people, maybe not like when they're first starting off, but when they get to that, maybe they hit 100 sales, and then that new toy feeling of becoming a seller and getting all these new things and all these new experiences, it kind of goes away after a while. And then you get into the day-to-day, everything stays the same, rinse and repeat, get a collection, list it, ship out the orders. Becomes very mundane, I guess. I still find it fun, but maybe people get bored of it and they become very impatient or very upset when something goes wrong or they don't see immediate results. So if you are in that kind of tier where you're not just starting off, but you're also not a bigger seller yet, don't fall for the trap of becoming very impatient when you try new things, and becoming, I guess, very sensitive or make brash decisions when something goes wrong. You need to be consistent. You need to stick through with things. And like Rudy says, stay the course. Because if you're on a trajectory to go up, obviously it's not going to be a straight path upwards. But if you keep at it and you keep that same goal in mind, it's going to be a lot easier than if you try to go to one goal and then something happens, steers you off course, and then you go to a different path. It's going to hold you back, and it's going to be much harder to get to a better level and a bigger level, I guess. So hopefully you guys found this helpful, and I hope that you guys don't go through this or haven't gone through this, because it can be a pretty dangerous thing if you give up on something and then you never want to go back to it, because you never know what you could be holding yourself out from. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you all in the next video.